Welcome back, everybody. So we're about to dive in real quick with Chef Jason. Let's get into it.
I'm a fortunate chef to be able to not have to buy beef commercially, you know.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that. You're getting to provide meals with beef right off the farm.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, you know, like I told you, that fryer, I don't use seed oils. That fryer's full of tallow. Stays full of tallow.
Yeah.
I cook with all tallow. I don't use any seed oils. I use olive oil to make dressings, but it's first pressed olive oil.
And all that stuff matters.
It all matters.
It all matters.
Health-wise, yeah.
Yeah, health-wise. And we're getting into a healthier United States as a whole. I believe everybody wants better beef, better food, non-processed stuff, cooked with the right ingredients. You know all of that.
Yeah. You know, like I haven't bought beef in a year and a half ever since we started our Akaushi program here. So I'm very fortunate as a chef to go from ranch straight to table. Our guests are fortunate also. It's a Texas Wagyu.
Yeah.
High quality.
So so hunters come in here, right? They go on their hunt. They come in. Say they came in the afternoon. They go out on the hunt and they come back in at night for a meal. If you're prepping steaks, they're getting these steaks.
I serve a lot of beef, and yeah, those steaks. Well, they could be looking at the one they eat next year.
Yeah, right. Because they're here. You're in the middle of them.
Yes.
You know. And what does that process look like with all the beef sales? Because this isn't something that y'all just jumped into last week.
It's been a process, and it's growing fast. It's getting to where I'm having to race to get the steaks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because they're selling out.
They're selling out that fast. Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great to hear.
But that also is making me go to the lesser cuts and like the tri-tip, the terrace major or the petite tender, using those as roasts, and they turn out phenomenal.
Yeah.
You've had them.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love every bit of it. I feel fortunate to get to come film it because I'm like, somebody's got to eat this, Jason. I'm going to eat it, all right? So how much different types of the beef are you able to get it, or all of it, or you're using every bit of it? Even the fat, I'm assuming.
We make a smoked tallow, and tallow you can get it off our beef shop online. So we're trying to use as much of the cow as possible. I've got tongue and oxtail and other stuff that I'm working on to do something with, but that's going to take a little bit of effort, a little more effort.
What all kinds of cuts can you be expecting to get if you're coming here for dinner, or not? Because you guys were doing steak nights in the summertime, right? Like it was just
how to cook a perfect steak. I've won a couple of steak contests, and I can cook a pretty mean steak. And
for sure you can.
It's how to cook a perfect steak almost every time. It's just a little process that I try to show with one of the cuts of meat. And I think we've been using the chuck eye.
Yeah.
Which Galen Swenson, our ranch manager, he showed me that cut. And as soon as I started learning, as soon as he did that, I started looking at all the cuts, because this is a chuck eye. So the rib loin, where the rib eyes come from, right here. Well, the chuck's right next to it. So that spinalis, that outside wrap on the rib eye, gets bigger going into the chuck eye. So those first 4 or 5 chuck eye steaks have some of the most tender and well marbled meat out of the whole cow.
Wow, did not know that.
And at the store, they're going to be like half price, half of what a rib eye costs, and pretty darn close. You got to do some cutting to get around, but it's excellent.
Yeah, and so for the what kind of experience for some of the hunters or potential guests, because we have a lot of return customers that come, a lot of them brag on just coming back for the food, I mean, we all know they're here to hunt, but we also know they're here for you too.
They're here to eat. And, I make sure nobody goes hungry. I bring back a lot of plates that's half full, but I want to make sure nobody goes hungry.
Yeah.
We're a ranch table. I do one of the appetizers that's real popular is our grilled quail with the pomegranate demi-glaze. People talk about that all year because they tell me that usually the guys that book the hunts that come in like, man, my guy's been talking about this all year. Make sure we're having it. and so I do.
Yeah, and that also sets you guys apart here at 1024 because you know these guys so well now that when they show up, you already know what you're cooking for them before they even walk in the door.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part, but then also, we have some that, are out here 5, 6, 7 times, 8 times a year, so I don't want to hit them with the steak every time, so I switch it up on them, and so they get a variety, so it's not exactly the same time, unless they say, hey, I want a steak,
Yeah.
But
and that's not the only thing that you cook. Like the options are endless. It seems like
they are. Like I do stews and lunch. For lunch, our hamburger. There's only one DNA in it because it came from one steer. It tastes like steak. And
the hamburger
tastes like steak. And so our hamburgers are really good. I also do a smoked meatloaf out of that. A smothered hamburger steak with mashed potatoes and bacon and onion green beans. I say bacon and onion green beans because there's just as much bacon and onions as there is green beans.
That's not a problem.
That's the only way to eat it.
Yeah.
And but lots of beef. I make lots of beef. I very rarely stray from it.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, y'all have the highest quality beef in this area, if not all of Texas.
It's also healthy beef. It's high in oleic acids. The fat from it, if you look at a list of seed oils and fats that people used to cook with, once it gets hot, linoleic acid rises, the percentage of it rises, and that's really bad for you. Whereas the tallow stays down to like 1% and 2%, where the other ones are going up to 15 and 20%. And it's damaging, not with the tallow.
Yeah.
And that's the same way with the fat in the beef. It's high in omega-9s and oleic acid, which is good for your body.
Yeah. And all that's here. Like all this beef that you're talking about
out there
comes from here. Yeah. What about could you dive into a little bit of the beef sales? Like, is that something that you guys handle here in-house? If they wanted it right off the farm,
yeah, we have a shop that we sell all the cuts of beef on, plus the tallow. I got a couple of spice blends that are coming up in about 4 weeks. You can get just any cut: the steaks, tenderloins, New York strips, flat irons, hangers. Those two are the same. Tri-tip. Plus, you get the skirt, flank.
Everything.
Yeah, whatever cut you want, we have it.
And I saw yesterday when I had come in, now you have, like for the hunters that are here, there's like little meat packages, meat package 1, meat package 2, if they wanted to box some stuff up, because y'all have it here in the lodge.
Yeah, you can buy, we have gift bags or, starter bags or grill bags, and they all vary in price, but they'll have a couple of steaks, some ground, some of the jalapeno cheddar brats, they're real good.
Yeah.
Breakfast sausage, stew meat, London broils. There's just a good mix of meat in those bags, especially for the price.
That's awesome. Well, and then I'm sure after hunting season, when things slow down a little bit for us here, we'll get back into the steak nights, right? And
yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to be hitting those probably once or twice a month.
What does that look like for anybody that might be? They probably already heard about it because they see it on social media and whatnot, but they might not know exactly what that entails.
I try to keep it to about 20 people because it's just me cooking the steaks.
Yeah.
So, unless they really want to jump in, and I'm just explaining the process and showing them the process as I'm talking, and it's kind of hard to do that with more than 20 steaks.
Oh, I imagine. Are you doing different cuts? Do you explain the different cut and how it would need to be cooked?
Galen and I talk about the cuts, and then we talk about.
So Galen is here with you on that steak night.
Galen's telling about his program and how he's brought this beef along, and some of the numbers he's put out as far as how many have been graded as prime.
Oh, that's
percentage-wise of how many he put in is.
It's up there.
Almost unheard of.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
And I'll be getting with Galen too to deep dive into this stuff because it's like a little local secret of this beef here at the ranch. And we're starting to branch out now. I know you guys have sent stuff to Alabama and Illinois and Missouri, Arkansas, and
California.
Yeah, like it's getting out there
Yeah.
now, and people are tasting the difference, and you can even see the difference. Even when we were looking at steaks and taking pictures from last year of raw meat compared to taking pictures of the raw meat this
Yeah,
year.
you know, the food program, the feed program to get the marbling and stuff right on cattle, you know, it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, starting from scratch to getting to where we want them.
Yeah,
You can see that his feed program is caught up to the genetics.
yeah. The feed program has caught up to the genetics, yeah,
And,
which is crazy because it's an art.
I'm real proud of serving this beef. Yeah, I couldn't buy this beef and make it from a vendor and put it on the table for the cost
Yeah.
that it would cost me.
Yes. No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it can get expensive if you were to get the entire cow, but like with us, with me and the wife, we split it up into quarters.
Just get a couple people, get a couple of your buddies
Yep.
with you, get a couple of families together and buy it.
That's what we did.
And you'll have meat for a year.
Yeah.
You'll have meat for a year, and you won't have to worry about, you know, what is in it.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm probably gonna have to call you to cut some of that, or to cook some of that stuff that I don't. So like the flank and the skirt. What? Because I don't even. I'm a T-bone ribeye hamburger guy. You know.
All right. So on those two cuts, the skirt, you know, if you go to any Tex-Mex joint and order fajitas, that's what you're eating is a skirt
You're getting
steak.
the skirt steak. Okay.
Now, to make that tender, you got to marinate a little bit. You got to take the silver skin off of it. But after you grill it, you need to cut against the grain,
Okay.
crossways. So that way it's tender. Because if you're cutting with the grain, then it's stringy and you got to bite through it. Whereas if you cut
Yes.
across it, it just
When you bite
falls
into
apart.
it, you're already
Falls
taking
apart.
it out.
And that's the same with the flank steak. Flank steak's actually really delicious. You can eat it just like steak. Just cut it real thin, lay it out on your plate. It makes great sandwiches.
Yeah.
It's just a really good cut of meat.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add, or anything going on that we need to bring up or talk about, other than the experience of like people that know? Like, what's that saying? If you know, you know.
Yeah,
'Cause
if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
what is
comes
that?
back for the food.
YK.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, Chef, thanks
Thank you.
for coming on and hanging
Yeah,
out.
I gotta get back in the kitchen. For
Yeah, I
some
know.
reason.
Yeah, because I'm gonna need some lunch, man.